Hello and welcome to Bitsbox World, builds made easy. I really like to try and make things simply and easily and cheaply on my channel, and I wanted to have a go at trying to make some lava and try to make it as cheaply as I could but still looking really effective and really cool. I've not made lava before, but I had these wooden sheets, some offcuts of some other projects that I was doing, and I've seen people make things like sea with toilet roll. So I thought, I wonder if I could make a lava effect. But then I also have lots of cardboard lying around. We all have this box cardboard just from cereal packets or your box from buying miniatures. And I just wanted to try 3 different methods to make this lava or volcanic sort of areas. And toilet roll, I would say, was the cheapest. We've all got toilet roll, and I'm only going to use 4 sheets. So if you were doing a big project, you would obviously use more toilet roll, but for me on my little tester here, 4 sheets would be enough. And then I just cut the box cardboard as well, just to size, so I can use that when I try that method later. I'm going to be using a lot of PVA glue. I've got this here, and you can buy PVA glue in big 5 litre bottles, and what I do is I do that just from like a trade centre, and then I just fill up my little handy bottle here. And the PVA glue does come quite thick, and I wanted to water it down just because I like it to have a bit more movement in it. And certainly with the toilet roll method, you want those sheets to be quite wet when using them. So mix a bit of your thicker PVA glue with some water. And you don't want to go crazy with the water, but I went for about a half mix, and it just makes that nice and movable within the tub. And then using my offcut of words that I'm just going to make these testers on, I'm going to use the toilet roll effect first. So I wanted to PVA glue just the area that the toilet roll was going to sit on, sheet by sheet. The toilet roll would sit on. So I needed this to be quite wet so the toilet roll would fit nicely. And I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the sort of effect on the toilet roll, the design on it. Some have a design, but these you see that it's got like that sort of paper effect, that toilet roll paper effect on it. So by watering down your PVA glue and having it quite wet, and then just running over it with another batch of PVA glue, it takes off that sort of matte looking toilet roll design that is on there and makes it a bit smoother. You could go to massive lengths to really smooth this out and take out any wrinkles, but I quite like having a few wrinkles. Certainly when I was doing my lava effect, I thought it looked quite effective, and yeah, really helped to look like volcanic rock. So putting another sheet in, I just followed the same process. So just covering over, smoothing out as much as I can, and getting rid of that design on the toilet roll. And then I went and did this a couple more times, 2 more times. So 4 sheets. So it's PVA glue, sheet of toilet roll, PVA glue, sheet of toilet roll, and you do that 4 times. That also helps the toilet roll to go quite thick, and when it dries, the toilet roll is quite hard. And that's what you want. You want it to be quite hard, and it goes sort of rocky in effect as well. So I thought what I would do as well, just smooth over the edges of the toilet roll so it went round the side of the board that I was working on. But I actually changed my mind on this later. I ended up just cutting away that edge when it had dried, taking a Stanley knife and just cutting that edge off. And I thought that looked better personally. But once the toilet roll has been applied, you can see that it's got a few crinkles in it, which is what I like. I'm going to pat down any air bubbles that might be trapped between the layers of the toilet roll. And then you need to get a handy tool, because we're going to do a bit of crafting and digging into that toilet roll to make our effect. And I've got a couple of different tools that I tried. So I've got a paintbrush, just the end of it, and also a sculpting tool as well. I like the sculpting tool, but at a pinch the paintbrush does work quite well as well. Starting off, I just marked off where I want my lava to split. If you look at a lava plane, you'll have these sort of rocky bits that are floating on top that are dried out lava. It's not the flowing liquid lava anymore, liquid rock. So I've just started off by just marking out just an area, and the toilet roll, because it's quite wet with the PVA glue, it just splits nice and easily, and you can start to make these sort of layers of dried rock floating on top of the lava base below. And I just did this over the whole side, and as I was going, I just patted down the side of the cracks that I was making and tried to make this look as realistic as I could with this method. But I really like how this came out and how easy this was to do. It did take a little bit of time, and if the PVA glue started to dry out and the toilet roll wasn't so wet, just wet it again. Go over it with some PVA glue and then make it a bit wetter, and it just tears really easily, making these cracks. And you can see it starts to look quite effective, I think. So there we go, you can see where we're going to see the lava poking through the dried lava formation on the top, and looks quite good. And then the second method was just using box cardboard. I was considering layering it up and having a few sheets of box cardboard and sticking those together. You could do that. That would just make that effect of the dried lava on top a bit thicker. But I just went with one, and I started off, I wanted to make sure that it fitted the area, so cutting it down, making sure it fits the area that I'm going to be working on. The thing that really inspired me to have a go at this was I really like playing a game called Warhammer Quest. Let me know in the comments below if you have played Warhammer Quest, if you like it. And there's some tiles that they have on that, like one of the end boss rooms that has got this real lovely lava effect in it, a gorge with a bridge going over. And I've always thought, wouldn't that be great to kind of make that in real and in a 3D effect rather than just having your flat game tile. But I might do that in the future. One of these effects that I'm doing might lead into that. So once you've got your bit of box cardboard the right size for the area that you're working on, you just want to cut out those lava, dried lava bits. And this was a lot quicker than the toilet roll. So method 2 so far was quicker than method 1 in terms of getting your design, and you can just be quite quick with your scissors. Once you've got a rough design in place, what I found was to make the cracks and crevices between those bits there, I just wanted to cut the bits that I had cut out previously, make them a bit smaller. So following roughly how I cut them out, just taking off an edge to make them a bit smaller, and that opened up the cracks between the bits of cardboard. And then you can also start to cut these sort of indentations into that dried out hardened bit of rock, and it just shows like there's a bit of a channel going in there with the flowing lava. So cut out all of your pieces, make them a bit smaller, and then I'm just using PVA glue as well. But with the box cardboard you could use super glue or maybe a hot glue gun. That might make it a bit quicker, saves on drying time. But you can really see that it starts to look quite effective as well when you've placed all of your pieces together. They're all fitting nicely, and then I just went over the top with a bit of PVA glue as well, just to help to harden it up when it dries, and also help to squeeze some of the box cardboard down. It kind of lifted a little bit just because I was using PVA glue, but with a bit of pressure and enough PVA glue it will stick down and go flat. So there we go, the prep for method 1 and method 2 is done. Both PVA glued, both have their indentations and their channels where the lava's going to go, but they just need to dry. So like every good crafter, here's one that I made earlier. So this is one that I previously made, and what I did was I left a channel in the middle because I thought I could do a sort of merging of the two lava effects in the middle. So I'm going to start off by painting the whole board black, just using a bit of acrylic paint. You could do this with spray paint. It's not going to affect what you've done in terms of the toilet roll or the cardboard. That's absolutely fine with spray paint. But yeah, just get it nice and black, completely covered, removing all of that colour, and that just gives you a nice foundation for when you start to paint this up to look like your lava. Looking pretty good so far. You can really start to see the cracks highlighted, certainly when it's black, and you can see with the toilet roll effect, like I said, I thought this looked quite good as sort of a rocky lava effect in comparison to the cardboard there. The cardboard one is quite flat and smooth, whereas the toilet roll gives you that sort of rocky feel. And these are the colours that I'm going to be using, just Citadel paints. I would have used acrylic if I had acrylic in all of these colours, but I'm just going to use, moving up from yellow to orange to a sort of brighter red, and then finishing with a darker red just for the edges. Starting with my yellow, just want to get a bit on my palette so I can start working it in to painting these bases. So let me know in the comments which one so far do you think is looking the best. Obviously we've not moved on to method 3 yet, and I hope you'll stick around till the end to see that one, because that I think looks really awesome, but does cost a little bit more. Both of these methods, method 1 and 2, basically free if you've just got those materials lying around. And with the paint, I just painted in between all of the channels, starting with a bright yellow. And you did the same thing. I just do the same thing for both of those different styles. It doesn't matter if you sort of go onto any of the black, you can clean it up later just with a bit of black paint. But once you've covered over all the channels, they really stand out. But obviously that's not what lava really looks like. So we're going to work up, moving into oranges and then moving into reds, and doing the same thing. So with the orange, I just started to paint at the very edges of those channels, So it was keeping the centre nice and bright yellow, moving into the different shades of colours as it got nearer the edges, because I thought the edges would be cooler than that dead centre. And then I also thought, as you can see with the toilet roll effect, some of those molten plates might be boiling hot. So if I make them red, it kind of really shows that out. And then with the cardboard effect, because it didn't have the same texture, it was quite flat, I just did some dots and dashes just on the edge of those plates as well. And I think both of them look pretty cool. I'm very happy with how they've come out, and I think this could be a good method for doing some basing as well for some of my models. But certainly for a board, it looks pretty good. Now, method 3, I think this is my favourite. But it does mean that you have to get your hands on some styrofoam. So I have, fortunately, some lying around, and styrofoam is really useful, but it is quite soft. So you just need to be aware of that. You can cut it with a Stanley knife, so I've got one here that just extends quite nicely, and then you can make some useful cuts to give you some fair shaped blocks to start making your lava sheet. So really easy to cut. And then you can start to mold it into shape with your knife as well. So I want to not have this as a square block. I do want to make some nice curvature shapes, because I think that's probably more natural to how lava or rock formations look. And then I just smoothed it off as well as it sort of runs into the ground, so it wasn't so tall. And then just using the knife, you can just nick away at the bit of styrofoam, and it sort of gives this rocky type feel. I've seen people also with styrofoam, they've rolled over their design with an actual rock to give a rocky feel, and I did that a little bit on this board that I made. So all of these rock pieces here carved out from that styrofoam and then stuck on with PVA glue, and then I painted it black. Now with styrofoam, unless it's protected by something like PVA glue painted over the top, it doesn't take kindly to spray paint. It melts away when you spray it, so give it a bit of protection with some PVA glue if you will spray it, but it does quite like acrylic. And there we go, using the same method, a bit of yellow, moving up through the colours into your oranges and reds. And then I also, because these are quite 3D, they stick out quite nicely, I just put some of the edging around the rock at the very base, made that a red colour, and I think it's really quite effective. So let's look at them all together. These were method 1 and 2, and they look fair. I do think they look quite decent, but I'm so impressed with how method 3 turned out. You could, if you wanted to, for method 3, use some polystyrene. Polystyrene might do the job, but sometimes that's quite bobbly, and comes in sort of balled polystyrene. Styrofoam is certainly more dense, and it gives a really nice effect. So I'm so impressed with these. Why don't you let me know in the comments what you thought about these? Would you be using this method? What was your favourite one? Method 1, 2 or 3? And I really hope you enjoyed seeing this. I mean, I'm starting out. I have a lot of fun doing this, and I think just giving it a go is a real great thing, and being a bit brave as well. And once you stick some models on it, ready for the battle, it really does. Yeah, it just stands out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching Bitsbox World, Builds Made Easy.